He said he was just there to help. But something changed that night. My name is Lena Whitaker, and I'm 43 years old. 3 years ago, I stopped believing in miracles. Before the accident, I lived fast. I rode a weathered Harley, camera strapped across my chest, chasing light through Colorado's sandstone canyons and waiting out storms on empty Montana roads. I used to say, if I go early, let it be with a shutter click and wind in my face. But I didn't die. I just stopped walking. A tourist van crossed into my lane. My bike flipped, and the world shattered like a lens dropped on asphalt. I woke up in a hospital room in Bozeman, Montana. Lucky, so they said. The spinal cord hadn't fully severed. I could still move my hands. I was lucky. But I didn't feel lucky. I felt like a ghost, trapped in a body I no longer knew. The hardest part wasn't pain. It was the stillness. The awkwardness from friends who didn't know what to say. The silence of those who quietly disappeared. Lovers vanished too, some with kind words, others with none at all. Except for Eli. Eli wasn't my son, not legally. He was my ex-husband's child from a prior relationship. When my marriage ended, I assumed I'd never see him again. But 2 weeks after the crash, there he was, standing in my rehab room, holding a coffee I didn't ask for and a bouquet of sunflowers. I'm staying, he said like it was obvious. Staying where? I asked, stunned. With you, he replied, calm as ever. It didn't make sense. He was 20, with a construction job, friends, a life. He owed me nothing. But Eli had always been that way. Quietly loyal, tall and steady, with those soft green eyes that noticed more than people expected. So he stayed. He moved into the small one-story rental my sister helped me find on the outskirts of Bozeman. He fixed the broken water heater, built a ramp out front, painted the walls in colors I liked. He didn't hover or pity me. He just became the gravity I didn't know I needed. We found rhythm. He worked long shifts outdoors and came home smelling of cedar and drywall dust. I stayed in, fighting my body through physical therapy and counting ceiling cracks when sleep refused to come. Some days we barely spoke. Other days, we laughed at old game shows and made burnt popcorn. And slowly, I started to notice the way he looked at me. Not like a patient, not like a mother figure, but like a woman. And worse, I noticed the way I looked back. There's a silence that comes with healing, an aching quiet. It's not about being alone. It's about not being touched, not being seen as soft, just strong or broken, but never both. Eli never called me broken. He called me Lena, just Lena. One afternoon, I lost my footing while stepping down into our sunken living room. My arms flailed, and the floor rushed up, fast and unforgiving. But he caught me, one arm around my waist, the other bracing my wrist. For a few seconds, we didn't move. You okay? He whispered near my ear. I could have made a joke, could have brushed it off, but I didn't. I just nodded. His hand lingered at my hip, not invasive, not inappropriate, just steady. That night, I sat pushing pasta around my plate, thinking about that touch. Not obsessively, just honestly. It had been so long since someone had touched me with care. Later, when my legs began to cramp, Eli offered to help, like he had before. He knelt beside my recliner, working gently along the muscles of my thighs. His hands were rough from labor, but moved with surprising grace. He didn't rush, didn't speak much, and I didn't stop him, because nothing about it felt wrong. It wasn't about lust. It was about feeling seen and feeling real. After that night, something shifted, not loud, not scandalous, just shifted. Our conversations grew longer, but more hesitant. There were glances we tried to avoid, but failed to. And though we never named what had changed, we both felt it. Eventually, Eli told me he might head back to his apartment for a while, to give space. I nodded, pretending it was the right choice, though my heart sank. But before he left, I whispered, "You don't have to go. Not unless you really want to." He paused at the door, hand on the frame. "I'm not sure I deserve to stay. Feelings don't always arrive on time," I said, voice low. He didn't respond, just gave a slow, almost broken nod. That evening, we sat across from each other on the couch, a quiet movie flickering in front of us, untouched. And when our knees brushed, neither of us pulled away. I don't know what to call what we were. There were no perfect words, no script. Just two people holding on to something they couldn't define. And sometimes, that's enough.